Hi everyone, I hope you're well. So no one was able to join online tonight, so I'm just going to do a recording speaking to the next lot of content that you need to be aware of and where to go now that your assignment or your part has been submitted. So now that that part of your module is done and out the way, you're going to be shifting your focus now to the POE. So your part looked at internal communication, so communicating within the company. So in particular for us, looking at internal communication in Pringles. And your POE is now going to be shifting the focus, and it's going to be looking more at the external communication that happens between a company with the people selling the products and then also with society as a whole. So I'm just going to be speaking to two things tonight, and these directly relate to your POE. So I just want to pull up the POE for a second here. So the content that I'm going to be speaking to is what is dealt with in section A, and then I'm still going to be breaking down these things, but I'm also then just going to start mentioning Instagram and the POE specifically. So before I get into the theory that I need you guys to be aware of, I just want to reiterate that your POE follows on from your part. So your part was the foundation, and now you're going to go a bit further with it. So you're still focusing on this background information. You're still focusing on Pringles with these three distinct new flavors with this Asian influence, looking at the seaweed, grilled shrimp, soft shell crab, and you are now going to be building the brand of marketing campaign for Pringles for these three new flavors. So as the retailers and the consumers would be seeing the product. So if you look at learning unit 7 and 8, we are, sorry, not 7 and 8, we're looking at specifically, yes, 7 and 8. Sorry, it sounded wrong in my mind for some reason. The first major concept that you need to be aware of, and that comes up directly in your POE, is the concept of your compositional modes for digital and social media. So what you'll notice is the POE shifts focus into this digital social media environment, looking at how we communicate with people outside of the traditional forms of media, and we're going to more digital forms of media, specifically with social media. And with this, it is looking at the different ways that you're able to engage with people and different ways of communicating in terms of our digital media. And we have 9 specific compositional modes, so 9 ways that we are able to communicate in a digital environment. All right, so let's have a look at what those 9 are. Now, the reason why I'm speaking to this specifically is that you need to ensure that you are well versed in this particular section, because this is a theory-based section that is present within your POE. So the first thing is that in our social media environment, we're able to have conversations. So with this, it's any form of writing, communicating, so where a company communicates with the audience, or the audience communicates with each other, but it's that we have this real-time conversations. A lot of companies nowadays will have that instant chat bar that pops up on their social media sites, that people are able to talk, the company is able to talk directly with the use of, which goes next to the next one, comments and critiques, and we're able to have conversations. So where media used to be very one-sided, that media used to be all about information being put out and shared with the consumer, wasn't really ever feedback from the consumer to the company. And that is obviously problematic because then you never really know if your product is hitting home correctly. So with the introduction of social media and the manner in which we're able to communicate, we're able to actually have that two-way conversation. So we're able to have these conversations, we're able to comment and critique. So it means that we're actually able to, you know, give ideas and views and comments on products that we've used, products we haven't enjoyed, and you're able to actually build a brand communication. You're able to actually look at the way in which your product is being received. The next is your orientations, all right? And with this, it is all about looking at the key points of information to tell the audience what your product is all about. So it's basically, think of it as like how-to guides. It's to orientate the audience with the new product. So it's not just summarizing, it's the how-to guide, the breaking down of how a product is used. So if it's maybe a new fridge, for example, maybe there's a new system that's used in which to promote air purification, or maybe a new way in displaying of drinks, or whatever it may be. It helps us orientate with this new product so that we don't feel so overwhelmed, and that we don't feel that we couldn't possibly buy this new product because we just don't know where to start with it. All right, the next one, we go down here, is summaries. Okay, so this always goes at the beginning of an article or the web page and basically summarizes, like you used to, the main focus points of what that site or what that product's all about. So your summaries are meant to be basically your 5 W's and H, your who, what, when, where, why, and how, and basically helps the audience to know what it's all about in a very short, brief overview, and then the audience can choose if they want to put the time in to actually getting to know the product in more depth. The next is reference material, and this is the thing with the internet, is that where before you would maybe go to the library, or you would go to one source and you would be able to find information and be able to get a point of reference, like with Encyclopedia Britannicas and all those kinds of things. Now we have the entire internet at our fingertips. Within a few seconds, we have hundreds of thousands of pages come up. So we have all this reference material, which is amazing because it means that we never left in the dark, but also we can get information overload. So it's that social media gives us this connectivity, but that connectivity can be overwhelming sometimes. All right, narratives have already been covered in previous learning units. So it's basically where we're telling the story, where we're able to paint the picture around a particular product so that people feel a connection to it. The next form of, or the next mode, should I say, are teasers. So teasers are awesome. It's that they deliberately will leave out certain pieces of information to draw people in. So Fanta did it last year with the Guess the Flavor. Simba and all of them often do it. It's those products that are put out there, that, or a company that has got an established brand, that they put out like a little snippet of, oh, look what's to come. You don't know what's going on, and it teases us to want to follow, want to know what's going on, want to actually like invest in what is to come. So teasers work incredibly well, but the brand needs to be established. Then the next is status updates and announcements. So as new products are being launched, or maybe they're being remarketed, or stuff is happening with a company, they're able to update us and put out announcements so that we start creating hype around this product. And this is the kind of thing you need to think about for Pringles specifically. And then the last one is your tutorials and frequently asked questions. You know, if there is a product that maybe is a little bit more tricky to use or is a little bit more in depth, you know, you can either do YouTube tutorials or frequently asked questions, just to give people peace of mind and feel that they have some sense of community and are able to have their questions answered. All right. So this follows, so it's page 231, 232, 233. And this is what is important for section A of your POE. So how this is going to work is you're going to be looking at in terms of theory and application. So you're going to give me the theory behind each of these, and then you're going to apply it to the Pringles model, which I will break down for you guys now. So let's just have a look at this question. Okay, so the background is the same as before. And then if you have a look, so what we've just covered, it says here, you have successfully, I just want to zoom in so you can see, you have successfully informed the staff that and the retailers of the new product. The next communication will be to the consumer. So that's us, the everyday people that's going to buy the product. Before you start planning the communication to the consumer, you need to consider the compositional modes when writing messages for digital and social media. So discuss each of the 9 modes as I've just outlined with you. So just to highlight that, discuss each of the 9 modes, clearly indicate how each would apply to the digital communication of Pringles with the release of their new flavors. So the idea here is that, like I said, you will first give me theory in terms of, in-text reference content from the Pringles, not the Pringles, from the textbook, giving me the theory behind the compositional modes. Then after that, you will then go and speak to how you think they could use this in terms of the Pringles context. So you are making it up. You are showing me your understanding of the compositional modes through the application, how you write it. Okay. You cannot exceed 800 words, and it's got to be correctly referenced. So the in-text referencing will obviously appear for the theory. The application in terms of your analysis, you will not reference that because it's how you think Pringles could use these different modes in their communication to the consumer about the 3 new flavors. So you're not talking about Pringles in general. You're specifically speaking to Pringles in the release of these 3 new flavors that are over here. Okay, so please just make sure that you've got those specifics and that you don't leave out the detail in terms of launching your new product. Okay, so I'm going to go through the section B, C, and D in our next collab, but just to say to you guys now, when it comes to the rest of the POE, you do need to engage with Instagram. So if you don't use Instagram yourself, if it's not something that you are very familiar with or something you choose not to engage with, you are going to need to for the sake of this POE. So I'm just pulled up my Instagram here, and what's really important is you need to look at the formatting and how companies and everyone actually choose to write their posts. So if you have a look here, so when you look through all this content, just be aware and think about how people use the little description over here, that how people use hashtags within their Instagram posts. So just here's Celeste Barber. So often she will go and do quite a few hashtags. And the idea here is that for the sake of your POE, you are actually going to recreate an Instagram post. So for this, you are going to create a Pringles account, a fake Pringles account. You're going to have an icon. You're going to have your image here. You're going to give yourself a handle. You're going to create some visual over here. You're going to make sure that you actually have a description here. You're going to make sure you have your like, your comment, your share, and you're going to create a whole Instagram post. So it's important to actually just have a look at how Instagram is used. Make sure that you engage with the platform and just make yourself aware of what stands out to you. So think of colors, think of clever wording, think about the use of detail, explanation. You got to just think about how Instagram is used as a platform, and then your marks come from the post that you create. So, sorry, a lot of my stuff is farming and what have you, just because birds and what have you on my thing. So just make sure that you look at what people are putting out there to make sure you are ensuring that your post is going to be effective for reaching the audience with these new Pringles products. You are able to make a video or a GIF, or you don't have to think of things only in 2D. You can think about how you are going to actually do things in an interesting and fun way to draw me or your audience to these Pringles flavors. Okay, so that's all I want you guys to be aware of for tonight. What we're going to do in our next collab is actually break down the POE, look at everything in detail, and look at all the different elements that you need to take into consideration. So that's it from me, guys. I hope you have a great evening or day whenever you're listening to this, and I will chat to you again soon. Bye, everyone.